welcome to another episode of, I don't know, prototyping in code. We are going to work through using the Kibana skeleton, which is a GitHub repo based off of Create React app that's going to let us do some cool stuff with the UI inside of a Kibana UI without having to do a whole bunch of setup. So this repo was originally created by Michael Yasonic. I've forked it in his absence, and I'll be maintaining it, so you can find a link to that down below. And in this first video, we're going to run through getting that set up. We're going to take a look at the file structure, and then over the course of the next few videos, we're going to basically build out a page template. We're going to play around with the UI Flex group. We're going to use some page layout components and basically build ourselves a little index page with some Flintstone episodes on it. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope this is helpful, and that you have fun following along. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. First thing we want to do is somewhere on your computer, we're going to clone the repository from GitHub. And so I'm going to run git clone Davey Holler. This is going to come from GitHub, Davey Holler, Kibana skeleton. And I'm going to pass in lesson 2 here as like a variable there at the end. And that's just going to put that inside of a lesson 2 directory for me. So when that goes, it's going to clone that down and I'll cd into it. So lesson 2. And we're going to run yarn install inside of here. And while that does its thing, actually we'll just give it a second. It should only take a couple more seconds. There we go. So all that stuff is installed. I'm going to open up a new tab here. And from within this directory, I'm going to run yarn start. And that's going to get started with the compilation. It's going to compile things down, and it's going to load that stuff up into a browser for us here in a second. While that works on it, we'll take a look at the code. So go ahead and open up that folder in your favorite editor, and we will take a look at what we have going on in here. So let's start with package.json. There's a few things in here that I want to kind of point out. So obviously we're installing Elastic UI or Elastic EUI here. There's a few dependencies that come with that. Elastic date math, Elastic charts, moment, which we'll be making use of, and then moment time zone as well. Down here in the script section, we have a few scripts, but really we're only going to be using the start script. When we get to our videos on deploying, the build script will come into play. We're not going to write any tests, otherwise we'd be using test. And then just for reference, the eject script is used to basically eject this project from the Create React app starter kit. Essentially, it surfaces some of the like Webpack config files if you wanted to go crazy with that. But that is way outside the purview of these lessons, so we're not going to worry about it. Let's also take a look over here at inside our source directory. So in those last videos, we talked about some of the React basics. So a lot of that stuff still applies, but this particular repository has some added layers on top of that. So if we take a look at our index.tsx file, which is our app entry point, you'll notice that we have our app, but it's wrapped inside of this router. And that's going to let our app handle some navigation stuff. And that's really all we need to know about this. But if we go over to our routes file here, you will see that there are some routes declared. So we have a dashboard, we have discover, we have home, which is where we're going to be doing most of our work in this video series. And then you can kind of see the way these things are laid out. We're not going to go into really any navigation over the next couple of videos, but we will get there eventually. So this is just a good thing to kind of to know about. But you'll see down here that we do have our component home being served at the root path. And then if we open up home, you'll see this home.tsx file, which is just returning an h1 for home. And I'm going to assume that our browser is done loading and compiling. Right? Yeah, there it is. This is not the one I want. And if I look at it over here in the browser, you'll see I have home. and then you'll see some of the navigation points that we pointed out in that routes file are there. So click home, there's my H1, and that's kind of the overview of the project structure itself. And if we were to go make changes inside the home file, like if we were to replace home with dogs are better than cats, that would update automatically to dogs are better than cats. So we'll stop there for this one. When we come back, we're going to take a look at using EUI Flex Group and how to put those pieces together and see how all that stuff works. So until next time.